Hey everyone, welcome to the PolyCast. We do these Polymega related streams every so often. We did have a schedule. We no longer have a schedule for them anymore because now we're just going to wait for more relevant info to come along, and then we'll start doing them as we have something to talk about in the world of Polymega. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to CatPat, who is the regular on the PolyCast stream. He's got a little something that he wants to talk to you guys about, and then we'll go ahead and get into the different subjects that we have for tonight's show. But CatPat, if you can go ahead and just tell us a little about yourself and talk about your event coming up.
Brief introduction. I make, I shouldn't say just Polymega exclusive content, but that's what it seems to be recently. That's definitely where my interest lies. I made I don't know if analysis is the word, but essentially a large video about the Polymega. I made a couple of them. They're kind of two-parters, and I'm waiting for the console itself to be like the finale, the trifecta, the end of the season kind of a thing. Yep. So that's where I'm waiting right now. So if you like any of that content, you want more Polymega content, go ahead and check out my channel. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Another thing I wanted to mention too is I am doing a Extra Life event currently right now. For those who don't know what Extra Life is, it's basically a way to raise money for children's hospitals. And while this is happening, the cutoff is at November 7th. So what my team does is that we gather funds for a local of our local hospital of our choice, which mine is the DeVos Center because I live in Michigan, and that's the biggest and most professional one, I should say, or at least reputable one. So that's what we're choosing. And if you'd like to donate, please, that would be great. I do plan on making a stream. I don't have a date yet, but I plan on Twitter, so please follow me on Twitter if you can. I will put a poll of what kind of content you'd like me to do. The only reason I say that is because I actually have a lot to work with. I can pretty much have most retro games covered. I'll leave some suggestions, so feel free to check that out. But Saru's going to leave a link where you can donate and things like that. There's also another thing I wanted to add about that too. It's called Extra Life because it's not just about raising money to kids. It's trying to like meld it with video games, because on November 7th, me and my group of friends are going to have a bash where we're playing games 24/7. So that's the whole video game aspect of it as well. So it's a fun little thing. So kids get money, the sick kids get money for their operations and to get some help, and then at the same time, we get to play video games. I feel like that's a win-win situation. It's just a fun thing that me and my pals do. So, and hopefully you guys get to be participant in that with not just your donations, but with a live stream, which I will bring up a date. So sorry if that was a lot of info. It was kind of just off the top of my head, but
that's awesome though. That's really cool thing to do. Charitable streams for good causes like that. Feel good stuff.
Yeah. All right. The last thing I was going to say, me and my friends do it like every year. It's just I realized that this year I actually have like I've got some subscribers that watch me, so it's like, what if I just ask them? And I thought, and you guys in general, so I thought that would be a good idea since I have a bigger reach now. So
very cool. All right. So, and you also made like these cool like little wooden things I saw.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry. Thank you for
that.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. I don't know why that's slipped my mind
here so that they can see what those look like. Here.
Great. So my friend, and these are work in progresses. Maybe even by tomorrow, I'll get a picture. I'll let you know, Saru. Or otherwise, I'll show you the work in progress one. But my friend is a woodworker, so he's got he made a cutting board that's shaped like a controller, and it has a Polymega symbol in the middle. And he does good work. He gets paid to do it. It's his career. But what I was going to add with that is that whoever donates the most will get their first pick between the two variants. One is striped and one's made out of maple. And the striped one's made of different kinds of wood as well.
That one's cool. I like that one.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite as well. what else I was going to add to that. So first place gets their pick between the two. Second gets whatever is left over. And the way for you to do that is when you donate, you can leave a comment. Make sure you comment Polymega so I know to count your vote. I mean, otherwise, you're still donating towards, a good cause. Just the only problem is I can't tell who's doing it. So
it makes it easier to keep track.
Right.
All right, cool. So we got a couple subjects to talk about in Polymega news, some big stuff, some stuff that is going to make people excited, I think. First and foremost was the public announcement between the relationship with Highway Holdings Limited out of Hong Kong and Polymega. It was announced. This was already kind of like a thing. They've already had a relationship and agreement going forward that they were going to manufacture this stuff, but now it's actually public, and you can look it up and see that they've been chosen as the primary manufacturer for Polymegas going forward. So right now, pre-orders for the Polymega are all completely sold out, but I assume this is going to change once this manufacturing plant gets in gear.
Right.
Because they did have a couple issues. They had 2 different manufacturing plants in the past. One of them shut down due to COVID. So they pretty much had whatever they had with the other manufacturing company that was doing their stuff. So now they have deal going forward, so more Polymegas are going to be coming out to people. So for those of you who are waiting to order a Polymega, you should be able to do it soon. I don't imagine that pre-orders are going to go back up before the release of the Polymega, but I do think that they will be available shortly after the release of the Polymega, which as far as I know is still on track for that November release date. Now, we don't know when in November they're supposed to be rolling out the Polymega and in how many numbers, but as far as I know, they are still on track with it. Pat was mentioning earlier that he had seen a post on Facebook from Eric, who is one of the people who works with Polymega, and he actually reached out to me as well to tell me that everything is on schedule, that the silence doesn't mean that they're not doing anything or that it's not coming out. It just means that they're just really busy getting everything implemented, because he's been working hard on trying to get like updates and stuff rolled out. Update recently just came out like 2 or 3 days ago for the Polymega as well, that added a bunch of stuff, a bunch of visual changes. I actually don't know the exact date, but pretty recently. That I just recently installed like a couple days ago, so it's fairly new.
What are the visual updates?
So they added like better scanline filtering, so it's more accurate. Now they took away the ability to fine tune the scanline, or unless maybe I don't know what I'm doing, I couldn't get it to work. But the new scanlines actually does look really good.
Okay.
It doesn't show up when I stream it. It looks like ass, but when I'm watching it personally, it looks really good. So they did a good job with that. And then they fixed a bunch of stuff that was not working with, like some games still have bugs. They're still catching those bugs. The beta testers are still finding stuff that is broken, and they're fixing it. And that's what Eric does. He does those implementations because I believe he's the software engineer.
Okay.
For Polymega. But exciting news.
Yeah. And I wanted to cover a couple things with that too. I guess I can just, okay. So for anyone that follows me on Twitter, there was my concerns before all this news, because, I've told you guys before that, I had in my videos, for anyone that's seen my videos, I've made it clear that, if there was something awry or something strange, I would make a video about it, or at least address it or something. And, I didn't want to, and I'm thankfully it doesn't seem like I'm going to have to. But I was starting to get worried, only because let me preface. I think prior, when there were when Polymega had to do their pushbacks and things like that, I gave a lot of passes, mainly because of a new company and, they're trying to figure things out, things like that, COVID-19, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But to me, and I think we actually discussed this, Saru, as well, is that we felt, or at least I hopefully I'm not putting words in your mouth. I felt, if it didn't come out this year, I feel like it would have not. Its success would be kind of unlikely or on the line or something, because I think for me personally, after 4 years, I think that's when things start to go downhill, because I've made a comparison of when games are being developed. It either takes 2 or 4 years. 4 years if you're doing it from the ground up, 2 years if you buy an engine or something like that. And so if it was going to get past that, that's where I was, iffy. So when the silence was coming up again near the date, even I got nervous. I'm like you guys in the customers. It's not like I'm not a beta tester either, so I see that. But at the same time, there was some red flags that I don't think. Well, let me rephrase it. There were some things people saw as red flags that I didn't. For instance, when you were saying the Walmart's having the sold out listing, to me, that wasn't suspicious, because I think I've heard this prior. When something is being made like the Polymega and it's getting close to release, they say it's sold out, and so they can get ready for manufacturing, shipping, things like that. That was not a worry for me. There was other people that were starting to get nervous and trying to imply that means something nefarious, or worried that it wasn't going to come out or something like that. No, I never had a worry about. So that was no problem. But I think there was something else I was going to add. Oh, so you were talking about, the manufacturer. Before we did this right now, earlier in the day, I looked up some news on YouTube, see if anyone said anything about the Polymega. And one individual, I don't remember the guy, but he seemed very level-headed, but he had his criticisms and concerns about Polymega. At least he implied in the past. And he came out, and literally the title is something on the lines of I was wrong about the Polymega or something. It's coming out. Yeah, and I was very happy about that, because it's just good. It's not like oh boy, I want this to fail. It's like, no, I'm glad it's coming out. And I was wrong about this prior. And it's like, yeah, that's the attitude. I think even people who aren't a fan should really, and not that he's not a fan, but you get my point. It's like,
right.
If you, I think it's good to want the best for companies and or at least good companies in good faith and people in general. So you want the best of things, So
I think that guy said his criticism still stands.
Okay, I didn't watch the rest, but, I guess.
That it's good that the system is coming out, because that was one of the things that he was saying, I guess, that the system was going to be vaporware or something. It just looks suspicious. Okay,
I don't know. Vaporware. Well, yeah, that's funny you should mention that, because I remember in my video about the pricing for all the Polymega value, I should say, I had, and this isn't even beef or anything, but people have their opinions, and that's fine. And I know where this person's coming from, but he was, I don't know if it's a he. This individual thought comparing it to all these eBay listings of the different consoles isn't fair, because it's not the official hardware. It's like, he was saying it's not a console. It's like, I don't know, because if you're putting games in it, carts, discs, to me it feels like a console. I mean, I'm sure with your first hand in it, I'm sure it's a console. It doesn't feel like a PC. No. And I also added that another thing to keep in mind as well is if the latency is 2 to 2.5 wired with a controller and less than 1 with the module, that's still better than software emulation. So it still has that edge above the PC in certain aspects. So so it's like, I guess it's a personal thing.
Some people are seeing it as a PC.
Oh, I mean, if this is new to you, that's shocking. Yes, a lot of people say that.
I mean, technically it is, right? But
but so is the PlayStation 4.
Still a console. So yeah, so is a PlayStation 4.
Exactly. You open it up, there's a CPU, there's a fan. I mean,
do you remember PS3s let you even load up Linux onto them? And they boot it up like a computer would. So this is no different than that. I mean, the new consoles are also computers, but their intended purpose is to be used as a console. It's the same thing with this.
That's
It's
right.
not like it boots up to, you know, a desktop and then you
Yeah.
got to run a bunch of shit through kernels or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it boots up to your game. So
Yep.
to me, it's a console. It boots up to a UI like the PlayStation or the Xbox, and then you pick your
Yeah.
game and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, uh, people have their opinions. That's fine. Just
I guess to me,
yeah.
it's a console. You know,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm on the same camp, but like, I mean, if you want to be hyper literal about, I mean, if anything, I'd say if you'd be hyper literal, then it goes back to what we were saying. Then technically, yes, a PS4 is a glorified Sony PC, and
Yeah.
then so, yeah, whatever. I thought I'd share that when because we were on that topic. Like, yeah, that was interesting conversation I had. So, but,
that's interesting. Actually, staying on that subject just for a second,
sure.
I wonder how many other people like. I think with other people who like shat on the Polymega big time, it's really big of that person whose name I can't remember on YouTube to say, "Hey, I was wrong." But
Yes.
I can guarantee you that that's not going to be like the regular thing. He's probably going to be like one of very little, if not the only person who's going to come out and say that they were wrong about it. I think everybody else is just going to choose to stay quiet.
Yeah. Oh, well, this is called the PolyCast. So I was like, hey, what about the analog duo? Because I know you're excited about that. I'm like, well,
we can talk about that too.
Okay.
I mean,
but
because
sure.
it plays PC Engine stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Over it. I'm going to get one. And actually, funny thing is too, is that like one of the first things in the comment was like, why do you want this if you have a Polymega? And my answer was like, why do I want a PC Engine Mini? Why do I want a Laser Active? Why do I want like an SSD-S3? I have pretty much, if it plays PC Engine, I think my comment said that if they made a toaster that played PC Engine, I'd want it.
Yes.
It's pretty much the same thing with the analog duo. It plays PC Engine and I want it.
Unless that person is new with you, it's just like because Saru is a sociopath for PC Engine and TurboGrafx. So yes. Yeah.
PC Engine karaoke
thing.
I saw this whole
that
wall
stuff.
on this side's all PC Engine right here.
Yep.
It's like that's the reason why I want a duo. If it plays it, I want it. But I do want one. It looks sleek. If I do get one, it will be my first analog console because I haven't bought any of them. So it'll be my first.
Going back, or when you're talking about the PC Engine, I wanted to talk about the PC Engine piece or the Mini or whatever. If I got the Mini one, I think I'd get the PC Engine one. I like the look of that more than the TurboGrafx one. That's my personal preference. But
it's
regardless,
small, cute, it's compact.
Yeah. With the mini consoles like the Super Nintendo one, or I mean, I don't have a Genesis one. I have the PlayStation, which the PlayStation Mini I've also modded as well.
Oh, did you? I haven't even touched mine. Mine is like still in the box.
Sure.
I just bought it for the controllers.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yep. That's going to be using it for the Polymega. Funny enough, right? Is that what you said? Yeah, that's funny.
They were great too.
Yeah, I mean, it's low enough. It's like $30, so you're paying $15 per controller. Yep. So whatever, cool.
$15 for brand new controllers for your Polymega.
Exactly. Yep. But my point with that is that I wanted to mod the Super Nintendo one and the PlayStation Mini particularly for obvious reasons, but because they didn't have all the games that I would want to play on something cool like that. If I got the TurboGrafx or the PC Engine Mini, I don't think I would even have to hack it. I don't know if that's even possible now, but let's say it was. I don't think I'd want to because it pretty much has most of the games that I was interested in. So, I mean, they had a very good catalog.
It's got a lot of really heavy hitters on it.
And you could switch it to the PC Engine or the TurboGrafx or to the European one. And it's like... Yep. Yeah, I think they took good nods to the Genesis one because the Genesis Mini did a relatively good job as well because of when you set it to Japan, you think, oh, it's just in Japanese language. No, it literally changes it to the Japanese region of the game, the box arts as well. So it's just like a lot of good detail in that mini console. So,
yeah, M2 was behind both of those too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, M2 did the UI and the emulation for both the Sega Genesis Mini and the PC Engine.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah, they do. They do great,
Well,
great work.
I hate to kind of nick at Nintendo. I mean, maybe I don't, but like, look, I don't dislike Nintendo or anything, but it's funny because, and I think the Mario collection is a testament to this. It's not that it's bad. It's not that the SNES Mini is bad. Nothing. It's not.
That's really good, actually.
Right. It's just that one thing that people have said about it, and I think it's a fair criticism, is that they feel like they could add a little bit more to those kind of things, um, like I don't think Chrono Trigger was even on. I mean, and I feel like they could have got Chrono Trigger considering they had Final Fantasy 3 or something. You get my point. But with the Mario collection, for instance, people thought it was a very subpar kind of port. They thought they could have put more time into it, and I agree with that. But I don't think it's gonna like ruin anyone's experience. I think the goal was to get those games on the go, but I do agree that I think there was a little bit more effort they could put into that. So because when I had I don't know why I say it had me having this SNES Classic, I do like it, but when you see the TurboGrafx Mini and the Genesis Mini, you're like, oh wow, they really went all out with this thing. So it just looks a little bit better than the SNES Classic in that regard, if that makes sense.
Maybe just the UI, because I think emulation is really, really
Oh no,
good.
that emulation's fine. I was talking about in terms of the features and the things
Ah,
that they added to
yeah, I
it.
think
Sorry.
the Genesis Mini and the TurboGrafx Mini have a little more polish when it comes
Oh
to
yeah,
the
that's what I
UI
meant.
and
Excuse me.
all the little extras. I think they definitely presentation
Oh yeah,
is better, I think.
yeah. The TurboGrafx, what got me is when you do the disc system and then it shows the pixel art disc being inserted in the noise, and I was like, that
That
is
noise that you
cool.
hear is
Yeah.
exact. I don't know how they did
Yeah.
that or if they recorded it. But I have a TurboGrafx CD and the PC Engine Mini. When you hit run, you hear that spinning just like
Yeah.
it sounds, and that
Yeah.
like the weird sound that it makes. You hear that exact.
That's what I mean.
sound.
That attention to detail in that presentation was just fucking awesome. I
Yeah.
thought that was fantastic.
Crazy attention to detail when it came to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those. Those are good. And that's the thing, right? Like if you like enjoy like all these different ways to play, like Analog Duo, PC Engine Mini.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Just play games how you want to play them.
Yep.
And that's a cool way to play them.
And
Sure.
when we could go back on tangent for the Duo for a second. And this isn't news to anyone that follows Analog or anything, but my concern and everyone else's concern, they're going to make 12 of them and then they're going to sell out in 2 seconds. And
See,
I hope that's not the case.
That was because of the Analog Pocket and how it went with the Analog Pocket. And I think people are just scared. I don't think the Duo. I think what scared people is the fact that they announced that it was going to be limited quantities. I think that's what scared people, because if you look at their website, like the Mega SG is still available.
Yes.
And the NTs were available for like a year.
Yeah,
I think,
right? I had a plenty of time to get one. So by the time it sold out and I wanted one, I was like, ugh. So I don't know. I that's on me, but there's still it's still somewhat disappointing for me personally, only because it seems like most of the things that I personally wanted just were gone.
I know. I'm afraid of that too, though, just because they announced that it was going to be limited quantities.
And if this is a track record, people suspect, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, Nintendo does this as well, is that like pseudo scarcity thing where it's like, oh, limited stock, and so people will buy it immediately because it's like it sounds like they have a limited time, and and Nintendo did that with the Mario games. Going back on that, the Mario collection, but I will say though, there was something I was going to add about that.
But then that's a gamble, because what if it is limited quantities and then you didn't put in your pre-order?
That's the difference too. Is Nintendo?
spot.
I think with Nintendo, it's like no, they could make more if it was more in demand. But for Analog, they're not a big, massive company like Nintendo.
Yeah, they're not.
Is.
So
that could be a legitimate thing. But I think for me at the same time though, I don't know. I don't know. But
I hope that's not the case.
Right. But
I really
will
do
say
want one.
I will say this because all this is just speculation anyway, but I will say that the Pocket, the analog Pocket, you could say the same thing. Oh, they could have made more. They could. I will say this in their defense for this moment, because even I, thought this at well, but then I thought, well, when Nintendo released the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS, those things sold like hotcakes. I mean, they were huge.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes they even outsold, some of their consoles in that generation. I mean, it was a huge thing. Pokemon came out. Oh man, that was the thing. So I'm wondering, and I could be wrong, if it's sold out so fast because it is a handheld pocket kind of thing. I think that sold out the fastest compared to any of their other stuff they have announced.
Yeah, and I think that's why people are worried, right? Because they sold out really quickly with that, so a lot of people are bitter, I guess, because they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't interested in that.
I'm not either. I mean,
I didn't even know the pre-order went up or anything. I didn't really care. But a lot of people's concerns was the fact that because it went out so quick, and because they announced that the Duo would be limited quantities, that it would be a repeat of what happened with the Pocket.
Yep.
And so, to everyone, the sky is falling because it happened with the Pocket, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen. I'm hoping, at least, that that's not going to be the case with the Analog Duo.
So, speaking on FPGA, and I'm going to correlate this with Polymega as well. I've had my Mister now for a while.
That's right.
And I like it. I speak, 8-bit DOE controller support, and I love this controller. We could talk about this later, but feels great, all that kind of stuff. But there's a couple things that I thought of, and a commenter recently said something about this, and I felt relieved because I wasn't the only one thinking this. And I'm sure other people thought this as well, but I don't know if I've heard it vocalized like this. Yes, FPGA is great, but I think it is going to be a long time when it's going to be a while before we get the powerful CD-based support for FPGA. And again, that's where the Polymega comes in for that. In fact, Bocop says that he uses his Mister for a lot of his cart-based games, and then he uses like Sega Saturn, PlayStation, all that kind of stuff for the Polymega. Which is, it is mainly a disc-based media console, so that makes sense. But with that said, what he said, if I'm trying to, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm trying to remember correctly. Well, I'll go back to what I was saying. How his response was, but basically what I was feeling is, I do not want to be the person that develops the Sega Saturn core for an FPGA console. No way. Like, if someone does that, they were literally sent by God. Like, that would be proof that God exists right there alone, because that is, and the reason I say this for people who may not know, but probably know because of Saru probably explaining this to people about the Sega Saturn emulation on the Polymega. But Sega Saturn is not the easiest thing to emulate, and there's a reason for that. It's not the easiest thing to emulate because that was one of the weirdest and more of the complicated systems to program games on.
Yeah, so, it had two cores, one for 2D, one for 3D, and they didn't really work in tandem that great, and so it was a programming nightmare for a lot of developers.
Which is why,
that reason. So naturally, emulation is going to be, because it's hard to develop for. But now emulation is pretty good. You got people running Saturn on Raspberry Pi 4s now. Yeah, I don't know at what level. I don't deal with that stuff, but I know it's not really a thing on the Mister, right? Like the Mister.
No.
Good core yet.
They're developing. They've got the TurboGrafx CD. They've got Sega CD, the Mega CD, but right now they're working on PlayStation, and I think that one of the guys I follow, he has a couple people that's helping him out right now as well. But it's hard work from what I've been seeing. It seems like hell. But Yeah, because I'm trying to think, and I'm trying to think where it would go, because at what point would the Mister stop in terms of all this console support? Um, to me, I don't think it's going to reach Dreamcast. I just doubt it. And if it does, it's going to be a while from here. I can't see it. Optimistically, it might stop at Dreamcast, but I can't see it going farther than that. I don't know.
It's funny because I've been wanting a Mister just for like CPS 1, and I don't know, does it do CPS 2 yet?
They're working on that, and
Oh, okay.
it's funny you should say that, because if it covers, once it gets CPS 2 and PlayStation, I'm pretty much going to be overall set with the Mister in general, because it's got Neo Geo, it's got Super Nintendo, it's got TurboGrafx. At that point, like, anything else is additional for me, because those are my favorite systems.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's getting there.
You know what, though? The reason why I haven't is because I'm kind of waiting, because I feel like someone's going to hack the Polymega to like do way more than it actually does. And I'm sure that, Playmagic probably doesn't want that, right? But I mean, like, it's inevitable at, a certain point of time, and someone's eventually going to hack it. I mean, it runs off of Linux.
Well,
it's going to happen.
My concern with that is, the only thing I have a pure concern about that is it's actually that if that happens, that's two things to be concerned about for Playmagic. So you're right. I don't think they want that to happen. Here's the two concerns. What would be the point, unless, again, well, maybe it's not that much of a concern, because my argument and a lot of the fans of Polymega like their physical media, so maybe it's not that much of a concern. But
yeah,
what I was going to say is, I'm going to get the Super Nintendo module, because I like the Super Nintendo. I didn't get the Genesis because there's only like a handful of games, of Genesis games, that like I like. Not that it's bad, it's just like I know a lot about the games on Genesis. It's just I'm not as interested as I am with the Super Nintendo, but I'll get there and I'll probably be decently surprised, whatever. So my point is odds are I'm not going to get the module for the Sega Genesis. However, with that being said, if someone comes out and makes this hack or whatever, sure, I'll throw some Genesis games on there. I already didn't plan on buying the module anyway. I'm not going to spend $80 for a module for like 2 games that I want to play. That's just not going to happen. But that's where the threat comes in, because I almost say it's a half threat, because it's like, oh no, people could buy the base unit and not buy the modules for their carts. It's like, most of the people are getting it like the physical media anyway, so odds are they'll probably just buy the module. So that won't be bad. The second,
I would want it for stuff that I can't play on the module.
Absolutely.
That's what I would want that kind of hack for.
Because we were talking about how it was a damn shame that Waku Waku 7 wasn't on the Neo Geo CD. But if that becomes hackable, you could throw Waku Waku 7 on your Neo Geo, or
you play the AES version.
Yes.
There you go. You got Waku Waku 7 on it.
So and that's there's a couple of CPS games that I would rather probably play on the arcade versions. Here's another one, Pro Gear. We talked about that too. I'd love to play Pro Gear on that thing. That would be excellent.
I would love to play like some Bucky O'Hare on it, or just a bunch of stuff that just didn't come out. Alien versus Predator, the arcade one.
Oh God, it is so shocking that never had a port, because that was intensely
I'm surprised
popular.
that it didn't even get like a watered down Super Nintendo port.
That's the damn funniest thing, because I heard this. In fact, Gabe Newell said this. I think who Gabe Newell is, the Steam guy. He Valve and all that. He said that, and exclaimer, I'm not advocating piracy when I say this, but he said this, and I have to agree with him. If publishers aren't fulfilling customers' needs to the point that they have to resort to piracy, that is something that the publisher is doing wrong. And I could agree with that. Because we were just saying, Alien versus Predator, how has this not got a port? people would buy that shit immediately. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Just make it $5 on like the Nintendo eShop, the PlayStation Shop. Like,
Yeah.
that's another thing too, because it's like,
I'm guessing licensing might have been too much for them to bother with it.
With Alien versus Predator specifically, probably. Yes, but things like Pro Gear, I don't know. I could see that being a thing. I don't think Cave and Capcom, Cave can't be that stingy. I mean, they put like, what's it called? They put a lot of their shoot 'em ups region free on the Xbox 360. One's like Mushi-sama Futari. I'm probably saying it wrong. It's the Bug Princess one. It's really beautiful, and the soundtrack it's killer. But I can't see them being that stingy about something like that.
Yeah.
But that goes back to what I'm saying though. Is just like, a lot of people would buy these things. You just got to give them the option. Give people the option, they'll buy it.
For sure. But that's what I think I would want somebody to be able to hack the Polymega, would be just for those specific reasons.
Here's a good thought, but I don't think it'll happen. But again, what that was the second threat, their digital store. If you can just throw a bunch of ROMs on there, then there's what do you do with the digital store? But again, how they have those like I think it's called ACA Neo Geo for like yeah, I could see that being a thing for the Polymega. I'm getting off tangent, but that'd be cool if like what we're discussing or whatever. I don't know. I just wish you could. It wouldn't happen, but if Capcom was just like, yo, you want to make a deal? Here's some CPS2 games that you can sell separately on the Polymega. It probably won't happen, but it's just wishful thinking. My brain's going 50 different ways. I've talked enough. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was going back to the whole, if people do hack it to play various things, that would be the number one thing, would be like CPS 1 and 2, Neo Geo MVS games, that kind of stuff. Because I would still want to use all my old library as long as it didn't interfere with the console and getting updates in the UI. I would welcome it. But if it somehow fucked with any of that, then I wouldn't do it. I would just leave it alone.
That's exactly it, because for me, that all sounds great under a few conditions. Yep. One being is it's not like you turn it on and then you choose the Polymega UI or RetroArch. Get that shit out of here. I don't want RetroArch on there. I don't want it running. I don't know. It's not that RetroArch is bad. It's just I want the Polymega user interface if someone's going to be bold enough to like be able to integrate that with that kind of jailbreaking or whatever, because I could definitely see someone making custom thumbnails for CPS2, because I know they have a thumbnail for Neo Geo and PlayStation and all the different kind of consoles, and I know someone could easily find a high quality picture and make it look that stylish way for each of the thumbnails for like let's say you do put Waku Waku 7 and Alien versus Predator on there. They've got a stylish way of making it look just like the Polymega UI, all the different thumbnails, the information. I know that could be done. It's not that I know that it could be done, but like that's how I would want it to be done. Excuse me.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that would be exciting if that was a thing. But anyway, I think we talked a lot about possible hacking of the Polymega.
Yeah.
Another thing, Polymega related, and this is something that you can talk about also, is that everybody got a lot of people got their email confirmation saying that their Polymegas would be shipping soon, including Pat. He got his email as well, letting him know that he was going to be getting one soon, which has got to be exciting, right? Especially for you, being the enthusiast that you are.
Yeah. In fact, I also have a story about that too. But the time I was worried, it was funny because literally a couple days later, it's actually quite funny. I was scrolling through I was going to my email for a specific purpose. So I was looking for something and it wasn't Polymega related. So I'm just like, okay, advertisement, play Maji, play Maji. So like I hit the email and I'm just like, So it was just like I was double taking. My girlfriend's like, "You okay over there?" So, it was really goofy. So that was like 2 days after my like concern. So that was good timing. But that was actually not my initial story. The other one was there's a group on, I think you're actually part of it on Facebook about like the Polymega console owners or something like that. I saw someone say, I don't know if this notification counts because I didn't get one and all these other reasons. And to which I respectfully interfered and said, well, a couple things you got to think about. I think the people that pre-ordered from Playmaji directly probably got these emails, which I think is true. Do you know this, Sarah, or not sure?
I believe
you're not sure.
that is the case. I can confirm.
Okay. So I think that's the first thing. And second, then it's like, okay, why aren't, why do those guys get it first? I don't know. Because
they
ordered it first, I guess. And then secondly, I'm sure Walmart will notify you through their email and not Playmaji or something like that. I'm guessing that's what would happen.
Yeah.
And by the way, me and Starro don't say that condescendingly, like we ordered it first. That's just
right.
What happened.
That just seems like the obvious thing, though, right?
Right.
Like,
so
ordered it first, you're gonna get it first.
Right. And then the second thing is also, he thought like, well, I'm guessing that message was automated or something. And it's like, well, it very well could be, but the difference between this as an email and any other time it was close to the release date is we never got an email like this. So I do think that's a bit more credible than the past, release dates. No one else got a notification release date when it will, like when they said it was going to come out in 2019. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to express. So
it's a big thing for sure.
And then again with when I found out that it was public that manufacturer in Hong Kong is like actually making these, it's like it's coming this year. It's coming.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's real.
That's right.
I always, pretty sure both you and me always knew, it was it's coming. It's just it was just more a question of when.
It's just, and again, I had that personal frustration because again, it's, I'm not a beta tester, you guys have these things and stuff like that. And so I had a bit of, I had that little bit of the neurotic side a little bit, but at the same time, by me also trying to get info and learning and try to keep my expectations somewhat okay. And talking to everyone, I think that's what helped me out a bit. So, but it's great. It seems to be, again, as you said, it's real, it's coming. Enough said, I guess, about that. Unless you've got a few things to say about it.
I just hope that it is actually coming out in November, because if it doesn't, people seem to, like, whenever it's delayed, people hop in my streams and they start complaining about it. They're like, it's delayed again. It's like, I don't know. I have nothing to do with it. I'm just playing it.
They said this, which I actually wasn't like super stoked about, but this was some time ago. They said, yes, it will be coming November, if at the very most by the end of the year. I saw a comment saying that, and I was like, I just kind of wish they didn't even say by the end of the year, because I don't want them to give them. Like, ever heard of self-fulfilling prophecy? Like, let's say you got a test coming up and you tell yourself you're going to fail. Yeah. And it's like, well, by you saying that, you'll make that more of a possibility. Right. That's how I felt about that. So it's like, you don't even say that. Just don't even say that. Just say,
whole, like, by the end of the year thing, I feel like that's kind of like,
I don't think that'll happen, to be honest.
Right.
I don't think that'll happen. It very well might.
I hope not. I hope that in November, at least some people get the units, so that there's some comfort. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hey, a couple hundred people who pre-ordered the unit are getting their units. Then that would, I think, lessen that whole, like, blow that, hey, the rest of them are coming later on.
Right.
Yeah, I think at least if they get a good chunk of them out there by November, that would still be better.
And and I know we're optimistic right now, but I still want to also say, like, no need to celebrate yet. It's not in my lap currently. I'm not playing it right now. So
It's more promising though.
but it is promising. Yes.
But we'll probably be doing another one of these videos if it's not. To talk about it.
Oh God. Yeah.
So hopefully it is. And either way, we'll be making another video, right? Like if it does happen.
I think it'd be interesting if we live. We could talk about this too. If I have my console or something like that, we could live stream it because I'll have it set up on my monitor right here, and we could do that one setup we did last time, and then people could see the UI and everything, and I could show it off or something like that.
And then I can just talk. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. That's just an idea. We could discuss more about that later, though.
We could do it live. That'd be awesome. Have you play, and then I can talk and pay attention to chat. That would be cool.
I think
Hopefully, though, like I don't know. It's more promising. I just hope that it does happen in November.
Yeah.
Even though we've gotten confirmation online, I've gotten personal reassurance. I'm still it's still kind of like a worry. It's a concern, And my concern is not because I could give a shit about people coming to my streams and crying about it. I don't care about that. And my biggest concern is that because I like the Polymega, I want it to succeed, and I think that it would hurt them if they missed this mark. I think that it would be not detrimental, but I think that it would be it wouldn't be good for them going forward.
It'd be worse if it is like next year. No, that's so I think people be upset about the November date, but not nearly as upset if they have to wait until literally like if it passed December, that's it. That's how I feel. And I don't mean like oh, that's it for me specifically or something. I mean like I think they're gonna get hit super. I think they know this too, by the way. I think that's what, because you were saying that Eric and everyone else at Polymega is like nose to the grind trying to get this thing out. So I think they know this. So
and not to mention that they'd be sitting on they'd be missing out on
setting up much money, and wasted potential.
Because Christmas is like right around the corner, so they didn't hit that mark. They're gonna miss out on the opportunity to sell a lot of these units. I'd imagine they'd be able to sell shit tons of these. For Christmas, and just people like getting them for nostalgia reasons, buying them for other people for nostalgic reasons.
I feel like I feel like it's gonna be like out of all the pre-orders, if people were getting it for Christmas or things like that, it'd be like out of like the thousands that it sold, only 2 of them are for actual children, and the rest are for like middle-aged or 30-year-olds or late 20s.
30 plus. Definitely the 30 plus crowd. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the target audience is like the 30 plus, maybe mid 20s with like some PlayStation stuff, because that was around forever, right?
Well, Brian even said that despite that being a thing, Brian said like, for I think he said this. I'm paraphrasing, and I remember saying this, but like I think he said something along the lines like, I think children would be fine playing it because it has that Netflix style user interface, and you just find the game, you pick it, and you play it. I don't know, like there's some games that have aged actually really well. A lot of the 2D ones, really specifically. I mean, you can't like PlayStation. I think the graphics as good as it got was probably Chrono Cross, or that was the 2000, the year 2000 mark, obviously when they pretty much understood their hardware. But some of the early PlayStation games, they're not all of them are pretty.
They're really rough. They look like ass.
Same thing with Sega Saturn too. Some of the 3D Sega Saturn games are rough around the edges as well. So
a lot of 3D Saturn was ass too, but like 2D is back with a force now. You know, like a lot of 2D games are a thing now, especially on Nintendo Switch. There's shit.
You
of
know,
2D stuff on the store.
it's funny because I almost would condense that as a genre more than an actual like. At one point, it was literally because it was a hardware limitation, you know. But now I think it's almost amalgamated to just a genre at this point, like the 2D pixel art games and things like that.
Yeah.
Because this is what I meant by it aging beautifully. You know, look at Shrek. I mean, the first one. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad and unappealing to look at, but like that CG has dated exponentially as opposed to something that's 2D animated like Secret of Nim.
Never played it, but I'm gonna assume that. Oh, you mean the movie?
The movies.
Oh yeah. Like
the
old
movies
3D, like looks really bad now too.
Yeah.
Right?
So then you got the Don Bluth Secret of Nim, like in comparison, it's just like this looks better. That 2D animation and I would say even pixel art has that power if done correctly.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna feel weird when I'm older and someone's gonna be like, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 looks like ass. So, you know, my grandkid says that, like, what are you talking about? You know. Meanwhile, he's like playing VR with like actual, just literally these glasses or something.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's gonna happen. It's already happening. So,
but 2D is pretty timeless.
Yeah. That's
especially now when like less and less people are doing it because it's such a labor of love to do 2D stuff. You know,
it's more.
It takes forever to do. So now people are starting to see 2D as what it should have been seen, you know, as like high quality art.
Yeah.
You know, because 2D
there was
is
a craft.
Art, you know, like 3D is just a bunch of polygons flopping around together, but like 2D is like art. You know, someone has to sit down and draw this stuff.
3D is a craft, but I do feel like an artist. There seems to be a bit more, like as you said, a labor of love with 2D. I'm sure currently it's not as if like, you know, I'm sure someone literally like, and it's not someone, a lot of people, you know, bust their ass, you know, making these graphics, the 3D ones, look good and realistic as possible. So there is clearly an endeavor there. But I think the thing that, and I don't think, I maybe I'm lying to myself, but I would hope to think that, you know, just because something is 2D, that's not seen as primitive. Because I mean,
that was during that era.
Oh yeah,
3D was like the thing. 2D became now suddenly that's old school graphics. That's primitive.
It's actually funny you should say that because Victor Lucas, the guy who did Electric Playground, and he's doing YouTube stuff now. It's amazing. The guy's been on cable television and he's still doing stuff on YouTube now.
Yeah.
But I remember I watched one of their their old episodes like in 1990s, and they were saying that I think they were reviewing like Suikoden and Suikoden, the first one is a little stale looking, but I think it was like one of the Bomberman games. I think it was the Sega Saturn Bomberman games where you can do like up to 16 players or something.
Yeah.
And Tommy Tallarico, his co-host co-host, was like, it's 2D. I just want to play the 3D stuff. It just looks too old and stuff. And then like flash forward to now, you've got Victor Lucas saying like, no, a lot of these 2D are like, oddly enough, I'm going back to now. So I at least I'm paraphrasing, but no, I feel that too. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. When 3D was new, everyone was acting like it was like this prehistoric garbage that 2D was, I should say. Yeah. And it's like, no, not at all. I think people have the same attitude in terms of VR a little bit. And if you don't mind me going on a tangent for just a second, you know, let's say you're playing a game like Devil May Cry 3 and, you know, you're doing all these backflips and it's third person, obviously, and you're doing all these backflips, doing all these cool gun tricks and stuff with the sword, whatever. How the hell do you like simulate that in VR, like in a first person way? I can't do triple backflips and do all those like guns and stuff. So to me, it seems like VR, you know, people say like VR is the future. It's not that I'm saying that it's not, but I don't know how you play something like that, or even a standard. It just seems more like a genre.
It'll be its own thing.
You know, it's a genre like more than the future.
How there's people who prefer 3D games and people who prefer 2D games.
Right.
It'll be the same thing with VR. It'll just be another subsect of games that people will play in that format.
Yeah,
Just
it's
like,
interesting. It's
go
interesting
play
to see that
sports game and
develop.
whatever. It'll just be like its own thing. I don't really believe it's the future of gaming. I think people will still traditionally play games.
Yeah.
Granted, everything's probably going to be freaking digital in the future,
Yeah. Yeah,
but I
that's
think
I'm
people will
iffy
still
about.
traditionally play games for a while.
Because I know you in your disc-based media preference, or at least that's my assumption.
Yep.
A good, I'd say it's a good assumption with all the TurboGrafx
Yeah.
CD
I mean,
shit going on
that's
in
all
your background.
disc-based media.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it's like, okay, so there's disc rot that happens. Okay, so if
Sure, I
people are
guess.
concerned about digital stuff and wanting to have physical, I'd argue, and as much as I hate to say it, I don't know how much, unless someone could develop like a very heavy duty kind of disc or something, or a disc reader that just lasts a long time. I don't know. Great. Do I think that'll happen? Not really. However, I think it would be nice if there was an alternative to, like, we'll still make these games physical, but we make these games as long lasting and physical as possible. I mean,
Yeah, Switch carts.
I was just about to say Switch carts are very, very, yes, that's a very high
I actually
quality
like the
thing.
Switch carts because one, they're physical, and two, it's a type of flash media,
Yeah, and it's faster
everything's
than optical
possible on
discs
it.
in general.
FMV is possible on it, and Redbook audio is possible. It's all possible on it. So
Yeah,
I think if type of physical media like Switch or like Vita cards, like that's the way to go. I
yeah,
think for
because
the future of physical media,
yeah,
if they continue it, but I don't think they will. I think they're going to nix all of it.
well, I mean, the biggest obvious, you know, we saw hints of it with when the Xbox One and the PS4 were being announced, because Xbox One wanted to do that. You use the disc to only install it, and then the disc is a dead weight and all
Yeah.
that. And we all know how that story went,
Yep.
but now having the option between, digital only console or a physical disc media console, it's just like, damn.
I feel like this next generation is probably going to be the last generation to offer physical media.
It could be.
I want to say, because like Xbox already tried, right, with the Xbox SAD
Yeah.
edition, and PlayStation is doing it. Offering two different versions, a disc version and a non-disc version. So they're already trying to push it themselves too.
I mean,
So it
Polymega
wouldn't
is even
surprise
addressing
me.
that, because I think they said their like warranty or something is like 10 years except for the disk drive. I feel like I've heard them say that a couple times, because it's not that the disk drive is going to end up being a hunk of shit. It's more like optical drives are not as long lasting as other physical hardware setups, I guess. I don't know. And I
And if
think
their
that's,
old systems are any freaking indication, like I'm already on my third PS3. I've had like three PS2s.
yeah.
I've had several PS1s because all the lenses and stuff they go to shit. So
Yeah.
that's
As the saying,
probably why.
yeah, as the saying goes, nothing lasts forever, but that doesn't mean people can't find a way to make things as long lasting as possible.
Yeah.
That would be, I mean, it's just quite amazing that, I mean, when plasma TVs first came out, they lasted like a year to like 3 years and they would just burn out. Meanwhile, I've got this CRT that's a fucking 200 pounds and still just going strong. It's quite interesting.
Yep. I've had some CRTs, like the bottom of the panel just gets all like warbly and weird, and it's like, well, I can't watch TV like this.
No.
Like,
And that's upsetting too, because I know inevitably I'm gonna have to throw it out when it starts not working. And what am I gonna do? Go find another one? It's like eventually it's gonna be hard to do that. So
yeah, because there's so few people who repair them now too.
right.
So,
Anyway, onto that digital media aspect. I feel like there was something else I was gonna add to that. Oh yes, I have, and there's multiple concerns with digital media. even in current day stuff. And it's like, well, there's the pros, you don't have to hold anything and you don't have to have the physical thing, less shit in your house. Some people want that shit though, obviously. But I think the thing that gets me is that, when you buy, I don't know, a copy of Breath of the Wild on the Switch and you spent hours on it, you beat the shit out of it, and a friend comes by, it's like, hey man, can I borrow that? Absolutely. If the physical, obviously, where this is going. If physical isn't a thing, then that's not going to be possible. They're just going to have to go buy it, and it's going to be under. I mean, I did this recently with my girlfriend. Before we have the Switch with a good lasting battery, and I bought Valhalla, the visual novel, cyberpunk game, and it's really cool. Speaking of pixel art and 2D animation, but I would play it, and then she would play it, and then I picked up my Switch Lite, and I could put my account on my Switch over there, or on the TV Switch, and I could put my account on here, but I have to make this one my primary, so I don't have to connect it to internet to authorize me playing the games on here. I don't care if it does it to that one over there because it's hooked up to my TV and it's staying at home anyway, unless my girlfriend wants to use it, but those are all her games and whatever. But by me doing that, she can't play Valhalla anymore. So I bought her Valhalla, even though it's already installed and whatever on that. It's just, it would not allow her account to play it, just mine. Okay. So yeah. And that's what I mean. So it's just like, I think it's definitely, it's obvious that it's to get some more money in the pockets, so that's a concern with digital as well. Steam, with how they deal with digital, there's sales like essentially every goddamn day. I know you can gift games to people and stuff like that. I think they do a good job in terms of that, but in terms of like console digital art, or not digital art, digital gaming, I don't know. You'll see sales sometimes, but it's never on par with Steam, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I don't know.
Never any crazy sales like that.
Also, paying for internet twice is obnoxious, and what I mean by that is, it's like, all right, I got my PlayStation 5 and I can play online. Oh, I have to buy a subscription to play online for a year. You're paying for internet twice. that's what I call it. So
more or less, you're playing for the ability to play those games online, which is kind of shitty. And Nintendo's online is pretty shitty.
Yeah, they make you pay.
It's like only like the first party stuff works really good. Yeah. But like I tried playing that Capcom beat 'em up collection with people online. Forget it. It's unplayable on the Switch. So I had to buy it again on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that sucks.
Play with friends so that we can play decently.
Yeah.
With the Switch, forget it. It's garbage.
That's
I love the Switch, but they're still behind when it comes to like online stuff. Like, get your shit together.
Yeah, that's been an issue since the Wii.
And freaking 2020, online is still like a decade behind. Everyone else. Always. But, and I'm not hating because I have a shit ton of Switch games. Like, I'm looking at a shelf, it's all red full of Switch stuff. So I love the Switch, but their online freaking sucks. It's like, get that shit together already.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that 100%, especially when you've got like, these big runners. I mean, they've got the Smash community that does like these, fighting tournaments. Yeah, I'll give you, here's a great example for that as well. You've got all these Evo tournaments for like Street Fighter, and they do Smash sometimes, I think they do that at Evo. Tekken, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, whatever. Oh, COVID happened. So it's like, yeah, well, we can't do that, but there's the online tournament. So I think either Evo or someone else was hosting like online tournaments or something like that. So you have at least that. Nintendo doesn't with Smash because of their netcode being bad.
Yeah.
So they missed out on that opportunity. I mean, who can predict, obviously a world outcome like this, but still, they like had that been taken care of and addressed, or at least better, that would have been probably good for them.
Yeah,
I would say.
Because that only highlights how shitty their online is now, especially when everybody
Yeah,
is at home, right?
that's
It
fair.
wasn't so much an issue before because people were going out, whatever, we'll just go play at the game store, whatever,
Yeah,
at the convention. Nobody really pointed it out. But now that everyone is stuck at home, it's like, man, Nintendo's online is really shitty. And it's
yeah,
like a bigger topic of conversation now because people are trying to do these things and they can't because
yeah,
their freaking online sucks ass.
yep.
But anyway, we totally went
Anyway,
off on a tangent.
no. It's that's what we do here, I
But
guess.
speaking of digital and online, and all that other stuff, we should talk about what we got. You got any?
Yeah, I've got,
I didn't purchase
I've,
anything digital, but I
oh
do
yeah,
have
I've
some
got a couple
physical stuff to
digital
talk
as
about.
well. But I've got two arguably normie ones, so I'll probably get those out of the way. But I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, let me talk about the stuff that I can't play on the Polymega.
Okay,
I got some pickups, and that's Game Boy games because we can't play any Game Boy on the
that's true.
Polymega yet. And I really wish they would rectify that somehow. It's like, let me use my Super Game Boy or something.
Yeah,
Like, I know they probably want to release a module, but we'll talk about that after we talk
sure.
about that. That'll be the next thing.
I'm actually gonna go to the StreamYard thing so I can see your pickups right now. So that's why.
Oh, yeah, because you can't see. That's right.
Correct.
All right, so
Yeah.
first one here is DuckTales for the Game Boy.
Nice.
Got that for $10, which is not bad.
No.
And I also
Is that
picked up
something you
Batman.
grew up with?
What was that?
That's something you grew up with, that game?
DuckTales? Not on Game
Yeah.
Boy. I had the NES one. Loved it on the NES. This one is a little different than that one, but I loved DuckTales on the NES. Pretty much anything Capcom.
Yeah. It was
on the
weird when
NES.
Disney had a relationship with Capcom and they'd make like stellar games, weirdly enough.
Yeah, they were always amazing. You saw that purple box, you knew you were going to get something that was decent.
Yeah.
If it was Capcom and Disney, you know it was going to be good. All right, next one, another Game Boy game. This is Super Mario Land 2.
I'm familiar with that one.
Coins. This one's boxed and complete.
Yeah,
which is
that looks
nice.
great.
And then one more Game Boy, and then I have some other ones, but I'll let you talk about some of your pickups before I get to those. And then the last Game Boy, this is the Game Boy Advance game. This one is actually a ROM hack of a Jajamaru game. It's called Reggie's Radical Adventures. This is a ROM hack featuring Radical Reggie as the playable character in this game. And I guess I
think I know who that is. Does he do stuff with Metal Jesus?
Yeah, and me.
Yeah.
I did a bunch
didn't know.
of collab videos with.
I had no idea
as well. Yeah, but he does a lot of stuff with Metal Jesus, but now he's doing stuff with Media Glitch. I'm also a part of Media Glitch. It's me, Radical Reggie, Intrigue Gaming, Carcamo, one other person who I never remember the name of his channel, but a few people. And then he's had Media Glitch had a whole other group of people before us, but we're like the YouTube portion of it. And so Reggie's part of that as well. But yeah, he's like Metal Jesus.
Yeah, so I thought you said that. I'm like,
we do a bunch of videos. We did a lot of videos together. He actually put out a Polymega video today.
Oh, I'll have to look that up then.
On his channel.
I was going to ask, you said it was a ROM hack of what game? You probably said it. It was
Ninja Jajamaru-kun, which is like a Jalico ninja game, Little Red Ninja guy.
Gotcha.
Had a bunch of games for Famicom. And then in America, there were a couple arcade games. They were called like Ninja Action and Rat Action.
Gotcha.
In the U.S. But anyway, I have a couple more pickups, but let's talk about some of yours.
Sure.
We can go back and forth.
I'll say it's normie, but it's somewhat significant because I got a really good deal on it. Everyone knows what this is. It's Red Dead Redemption 2. The reason this was significant for me is because I knew that over time it was going to drop in price super hard because it was super mass produced. But for a while, it was stuck around I think pre-owned $40. I got it for $15.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I was, and I played the first one. The first one's fantastic. I know that's a modern day game, But I don't know, when you get something like a deal like that, it's just like, Jesus Christ, here, check this out.
Yeah, good price.
And then the next one, I'll get I say it's normie, but it's a little bit more elevated, I would assume. But again, I think I got a good deal on it. Link's Awakening, so it's somewhat retro still, just the remake.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Game Boy, now what I think I got this one for $40, and for me personally, when they announced this for $60, I was like, no. and the reason that is because I know how long this game is. It's not very long, and you know, there's going back to Nintendo remakes. I think like there was a Devil May Cry remake, for instance. They had 1, 2, and 3. It was on the PlayStation. I think they even did it for the PS4.
Yeah.
And you get like 3 games for like $30 or $40. I mean, same thing with the Crash and the Spyro series. But like even like on the Wii U, they would remake Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, $60, and it's like separately, and it's like, why? So for me, I wait. I wait for these kind of things. So I wait for.
Did you play the Game Boy one? Did you like it?
Here's the thing, and this is going to ruffle some feathers. I'm iffy with Legend of Zelda. I appreciate everything that it's done. The only ones that I have beat was Wind Waker, the Wii U one, Link to the Past. I don't think that's it. If that's it, Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. All of those. But the reason I'm interested in this one is because it's quirky. It's a lot different than the other ones that I've been told. And it's also not 50 hours long. So I'm looking forward to that. And I also like the aesthetic of this. And I honestly, I'd probably play both. I know the ones on my list currently is this or the Game Boy one and the Minish Cap on the Game Boy Advance, because those ones seem like the most quirky and appealing to me.
Yeah, Capcom originally developed the Game Boy version.
Of course, they're going back because Capcom helped out with the Minish Cap too, and again, those end up being the quirky ones.
Yep.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they had a lot of their own flair to those.
It's just like Nintendo's already good, and then Capcom is already good in that time frame, right? So it's just like putting them together is such a good idea. I almost argue that it just should happen more often.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to you.
All right, so let's see, what else do I got here? So these are things that I can actually play on the Polymega. The first one here, and I don't remember if I talked about this one or not. I don't think I did, but this one is a new Mega Drive game. This is
I heard about that one.
Full Metal Force for the Mega Drive. This came out on a bunch of different things. It was originally a PC game on the X6800, FM Towns. My introduction to this was the PC Engine game back in the day. And then they released it on PS1. This is an unreleased Mega Drive version that Columbus Circle, which is this company here, managed to license. And they brought the original director from this game on as well to make sure that the game gets finished and out the door like it should have been. But they didn't release this back in the day because it was a 16 megabyte cart at the time that they were
that's this. Big for Genesis.
Yeah, and back then it wasn't worth it for them to put it out with how much it was going to cost for them to make it.
Yeah.
So they never did. They never did put it out. And then the company that made it, Filling Cafe and Family Soft, not Family Soft, Filling Cafe is gone. They went out of business long time ago. And this will play in the Polymega. Even though the Polymega doesn't recognize it, it does work. You just won't be able to save state or anything on it, which is unfortunate. I'm hoping that Polymega starts to add support for these Columbus Circle games, because there's already a number of them that they've released, like this, Glay Lancer, the Shubibin Man Zero, which is part of the Shockman series of
Oh,
games
right. Yep.
for the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that eventually they'll add them all to the Polymega so that people can save state and
Absolutely.
all the fun stuff. Let's see here. I've got a couple more, unless you had more to talk about.
Yeah, I've got one. Well, I shouldn't say one more Switch one, but this one I think I got a really good deal on, especially because I think this is mainly a digital. I think they have more. They don't have as many copies of this one as they do on the. Why did I say as they do in the digital store? Digital Store's Unlimited, but they didn't make many physical copies of this one. Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night.
Oh, nice.
I love Castlevania games, whether it's the classic or the Metroidvania ones. I paid $15 for this, and again,
nice.
yeah, that's kind of hard for something like this because it's like one of those indie games that gets a physical release. I don't know. Don't ask how the hell that happened. It just did. I found it at a pre-owned store and I just yanked it immediately.
Yeah, I paid full price for that one. I haven't even touched it yet.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. Here's one thing I will say. Yeah, I know I'll get addicted to it because those kind of Castlevania games with the maps and the castles, I just can't put down. But one thing I will say is that I hate to sound like a snob. Maybe you have the same feeling. The fact that it's not 2D kind of kills me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm upset with the whole like 3D environment. Did you play the
yes.
the prequel?
Yes.
Circle or whatever was that one called?
Yeah, it was I almost said Ritual of the Night. Oh my god, I said it to you last time because they just made a second one.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We did talk about that. I loved that one. I haven't played the second one.
I haven't played the second one yet, but I played the first one. I was shocked how much I liked it. I was just like, it'd be so really funny if I ended up liking this more than Ritual of the Night.
I played pretty much in two segments that game. And if I had more time, I probably just would have played it from start to finish that same day.
Yeah, that game kicks ass. And again, it values your time. And I love that when games do that. Just cut the fat, trim the fat, give me the fun most of the time, if not all the time. Yes.
So fun. I loved that one. So good.
I think what kills me, and it's when any game does this. In fact, I think you know the Romancing Saga games, right?
Yeah.
So they had this new 3D one. I think it's called Scarlet or something like that. I don't remember. It's like Saga Scarlet. I don't remember. But one thing that drives me nuts is when they have like dialogue boxes and then when you're playing an RPG and let's say it's 3D, but like when they're talking to each other, it shows like artwork of the characters talking with the text box, and then like depending what they're feeling, the face changes or something like that. I like that because it's illustration or whatever. I find it inexcusable when they do that, except it's 3D snapshots of the artwork with the different expressions. It's like, to me, that tells me you ran out of money to animate their mouths moving, and that's what happens in this game when there is text, and it drives me nuts. It just looks so. It's not that it just looks lazy, but it also just lazy. I mean, it is. It's not just that, but it also looks cheap. Yeah. I don't because honestly, the 3D doesn't look bad in terms of like when it's zoomed out all far away and there's a lot of detail going on the screen, you don't really care. But when it's zoomed in, you're seeing all the imperfections of the 3D and all that stuff. So it's like, just like, guys, stop. So that I don't like that. That happens in that Saga Scarlet game too. I think that's a worse offender, but they do that in this as well. So anyway,
yeah, it's kind of lame.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next one I got here. I got one to play. Another thing to play on the Polymega. That's Soccer Brawl for the Neo Geo CD.
I haven't played too many soccer games on the Neo Geo. I know the Neo Cup series and the Goal.
Super Sidekicks?
Yeah, Super Sidekicks. Yeah, 3 was good.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are good. I have all of those. Those are really
What's your
good.
favorite soccer Neo Geo one?
This is like a mech, or not mech. They're like in like powered suits, I guess. I don't know. I haven't played it.
But that sounds cool.
Yeah, and another one to scratch off of the list. I'm getting closer to that.
Yeah, you're telling me that. What's your favorite soccer Neo Geo game then? What? Because I just want a good recommendation.
I was in the arcade. I played a lot of Super Sidekicks 2.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. I
Okay.
like a lot of the Neo Geo sports games. They're always like not
Right.
like they're more fun, right? Like they're not like typical sports games.
That's why I like we have this conversation almost every other podcast. But like Neo Turf Master is probably my favorite golf game. I can get people who don't give a shit about golf that play it and love that game.
And
So
like
it's
yeah.
insane. There's got to be more. Oh yeah, Baseball Stars 2, League Bowling. That's fun. That's why I was asking. Like, I haven't really delved in the soccer games too much. That's why I was asking your.
Yeah, Super Sidekicks 2 is one that I spent a lot of time. I haven't played 3.
Okay.
Yet.
You know what's a really good one? It's actually a CPS2 game, which they never ported. Capcom Sports Club. I think you would love that game.
What's it called?
Capcom Sports Club. You have your choice of tennis, baseball, I think, and basketball, and it's got really cutesy art and pixel work, and it's colorful, it's vibrant, it's just fun. So I think if you have that Neo Geo sports like spirit, you're gonna love Capcom Sports Club. So you'll have to check that out at some point.
Let me see what that looks like.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
Oh yeah, and when you score like a goal in the basketball game, like the crowd cheers and it shows like an animation of like people like cheering for you or something like that, like the jumping in front of the screen and stuff. So,
oh man, arcade only, huh?
Yeah, arcade only. There's another one we'd put on the Polymega if it was hacked. So yeah, yep.
Damn, that looks cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of great arcade games. It's just like, please just put it on a console for the love of God.
Yeah, it looks great.
Bummer. Did you have another one, or did you? What
I do. If you want to alternate, I have one more.
Okay, I'll go next then. Here's when we're getting more into the retro one. Vandal Hearts on the PlayStation. I've been eyeing this one for a while, mainly because a few reasons. One, I knew about it and I had no interest for the longest time, but I also, to be fair, didn't dig up too much of it. But when I saw Pop Pixel actually play it on YouTube when I was watching him do his beta tests, he said he really liked it, and I was watching him play it. You know, we discussed at one point that Final Fantasy Tactics puts us to sleep. This seems like it has so much more, and the cover has you fooled, because there was a period where Konami like Americanized the shit out of their covers, like the Suikoden cover. It's not a bad cover, but like when you see the original artwork for the Japanese one, you're like, why couldn't that just been the cover? I think they did the same thing with this, if I'm correct, but it's got a lot of flair, and the game isn't 50 hours long. It's actually, I think, only up to 15, which I'm happy about. But when you like kill an enemy, I mean, a huge like dramatic gush of blood comes out. It's so cartoony. It's so fun. It's like, I think you should check. Like at first, the art you're like, it's sort of strange, but you kind of dig it over time. I think if you watch some of the gameplay,
I know it's kind of like a stylized art style.
Yeah, I don't because I know you're like iffy on tactics games, but when I saw like how the animations are when they're like you're actually like killing an enemy, I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like the blood fountain.
Oh god, it was great.
Literally straight up into the air.
Yeah, it's charming. It's
I never played the sequel. There's a sequel to it too.
Which is funny you mention that, because I do want to try that. But at the time, you know what I said about like, Final Fantasy Tactics, taking a long time and it's grind heavy. That was actually the biggest criticism of this game at the time. Funny enough. It's like, well, Final Fantasy Tactics blows it out of the water. It's like, depending what you want, I suppose. And people have had that attitude for a long time. They assume if it's a long game that it's going to be a better game. I disagree. There's so many boring parts in long games.
Sometimes games get dragged out too.
Right. So it's like, let's purposely, like it makes you feel like you're doing more, but we're going to like purposely extend and elongate this
Yeah.
moment just to,
I hate when games do that.
Oh, I know.
It becomes obvious too. You're like, God.
It sucks. So
Yeah.
this game isn't that. So when you brought up Vandal Hearts 2, I think they tried being more like Final Fantasy Tactics. So I can't say that firsthand, but from my impressions when I saw how long that game was, and I think I saw a couple things people I think people said that on the internet when I looked that up. But yeah, Vandal Hearts 2, I think, went that route with tactics. But no, this one has a lot of charm. So I'm excited to dive into this at some point. So,
yeah, I should play it again.
Yeah. Especially if it's so short. It's short for a tactical RPG standards.
Yeah, like 20
I should
hours
say.
or whatever.
The only, by the way, what's the word? I don't know if hot takes the word, but not even guilty. No, I don't know. I don't know what the word is. The only tactical game I ever beat was actually Front Mission 3, and it took me forever to beat that game. That game is long as shit, but I think the reason I stuck with that one is because I like giant robots beating the shit out of each other. So I like mech stuff, and it's not that I just like mech stuff. I like mech stuff that's more grounded in reality. I like when I was a kid, I thought Gundam Wing was cool, and then when I watched it as an adult, I'm like, this is bad. I mean, really, really bad. I'm sorry if that ruffles people's feathers, but like, if you take the nostalgia glasses off, you're like, wow, this is really boring, and nothing literally happens. So,
yeah, because Gundam Wing is super political.
It's funny you should say that.
Deal a lot in politics.
It tries to be, though. It's pseudo
right,
political.
It doesn't execute it well, but the fact that there's so much of it is really what makes it boring.
So going back to that realistic mech kind of feel, because obviously mech isn't real, but if it was, it feels more grounded. That's what I like about Front Mission in general. There was a Gundam series of that, and it was called Gundam 8th MS Team, and it was a 12-episode OVA. That's my favorite one, and it's damn good. I
haven't seen all of it. I've seen some.
Well, stop at episode 11, by the way. There's no need for 12. 12 is basically a shitty epilogue. You're done at 11. I'm not. It is complete at 11. 12 was like, okay, maybe we'll just add this content. They're better off without it. So I'm quickly saying that so we can move on, because that's clearly a tangent. But no, my point is though, I really like it when anyway, if I keep on going, I'm just going to keep going. So yes.
Speaking of Vandal Hearts, it looks like at some point they were translating the Sega Saturn version, which people are saying was
they had a Sega Saturn version of that. I
had no idea. I just looked it up and found it.
Well, that's interesting, because I found out a similar story. I actually posted, and apparently other people didn't know this either. They made a Sega Saturn version of Suikoden in Japan only.
Oh, yeah.
It had additional content. I had no fucking idea. None. So
Suikoden, Grandia.
Oh, Grandia. Yeah, I knew Grandia. But I had no idea, because, well, what's so jarring about the Suikoden one is that they re-released it 3 years after the PlayStation one. So it's like, what the hell? Okay. I found that really interesting.
Yeah, apparently the Saturn version of Vandal Hearts has stuff that's not present in the PS1 version.
I'll have to look that up too. And you said they released an English patch for that?
They were working on one. I'm trying to see if there's actually like a finished patch. That would be cool to check out Polymega if there was.
It's amazing that there's so many people that work on, in terms of the patches for the translation and everything. It seems like Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, they've got that pretty well covered, and that makes sense because it's the most popular. Sega Saturn, I think, is gaining momentum. I think it's not a lot right now, but people are starting to get interested in that because they're seeing a lot of cool, like Princess Crown. Are you fucking kidding me? That would be great.
That depends on what circles you're hanging around in, because as far as I've always known, people were always very interested in Saturn, and I think the price reflects that too. Like if you look at U.S. Saturn prices are ridiculous when you compare them to, and even Japanese prices are getting ridiculous now.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there was never an interest, or I think it's always had a loyal fan base. I think the interest in it is getting more present, is what I'm saying. Because And I think that's thanks to the internet, definitely.
And prices, regardless of region, are reflecting that. Because now it's like there's like shit tons of Japanese games that used to be super cheap are now expensive as well. So it's like
Interesting.
a lot of people are getting into Saturn.
I don't know if maybe we talked about it, but I'll just say we. I had this worry that if the Polymega becomes popular, you better start fucking collecting those games now, because
I think the Polymega is responsible for Neo Geo CD prices going up. Not entirely. Part of it is the pandemic, but I think a lot of people buying Polymega is a good chunk of the people who are buying these Neo Geo CD games is because they want to play them on the Polymega.
You know,
because prices randomly like went up like crazy.
It would be great if, because that sounds like a bad outcome, because now it becomes even more. I don't think gatekeep's the word, because it's not like it's purposely.
I think at the beginning, but once people start buying games and start copying to their consoles, they're gonna just sell them. The game they already have. That's true too. They might just sell them away.
The other thing too, though, is what I was gonna, and that was a good thing to add on. So no, you're right on that. But I was going to say that it could be, let's say hypothetically, most of the people keep the games that they bought or whatever, and now it's becoming more rare, and the prices are getting higher, so people aren't going to buy them, right? If anything, I would hope a game analyst would record that happening, because I feel like I know that the retro gaming community has grown over time, but I feel like it would be great if just someone at Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, all the big guys are seeing that there's still a good amount of people that like this shit, and a lot of it is selling out. That would be nice if, and I don't know if this will happen. Probably not. I don't know. If someone would notice that in the higher ranks, so that they start porting the shit that we were talking about earlier, because I don't know. I think that would be great if people are seeing that people are interested.
From your Vandal Hearts pickup.
What's that?
I said I like how we went on this tangent from your Vandal Hearts pickup.
Retro games do that, don't they? Yeah, it's an endless pit for us. So, yeah, you had one more. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I do. This is my last one. This one is more or less the person who made this remastered like the audio for Cotton, and he made like a mashup soundtrack for it, and so he calls it Cotton Remastered. Basically, a lot of PC Engine audio back in the day was really low volume, so you heard a lot of the sound effects a lot in the games. And so he made this audio remix remaster, but he also hired someone to do this cover for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that cannot be the official artwork for
no, but yeah, he hired somebody to do this artwork, which came out really cool. But he puts them in these really nice packagings, and he writes stuff about them. He has a Facebook group called Dark City Productions. So if you were interested in that, anybody watching can just look up Dark City Productions on Facebook. But he does the CD printing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nice. He did these other ones here too, like Download 2, Gate of Thunder. But I guess these are other ones that he's planning to do. And then he also did a soundtrack, which I got to contribute with as well.
Oh, awesome.
I got to do the artwork for this one. So I did the art for this soundtrack here.
That looks great.
Thank you. And this is just his remixed soundtrack for this Cotton remix that he did. And the cool thing about this one is that the Polymega will see it as the original and let me install it. So I can install this version and play this version on the Polymega instead of the real game, which has much lower audio.
Yeah.
And the remix audio is so good in this that He's already sold out of all of them. So
Oh,
I don't know
I
if he's
believe
gonna
it.
make more, but he sold them. He sold them out pretty
I
quickly.
believe that 100%.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll make more. But I'm just glad that the Polymega
Yeah.
sees it. I think it's pretty freaking rad.
I was
that
going
it
to ask
does.
you a slight tangent for just a second because I meant to ask you this when we are on the topic of 2D animation. I wouldn't be shocked. You probably like Vanillaware games, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the aesthetic of that. So,
Yep. Liked
and
all of them. Princess Crown, Odin Sphere, Oboromura Masa.
I actually could not beat out Odin Sphere on the PS2. It wasn't until they added all those awesome features on the PlayStation 4 where it's like this is 10 times better. That's my
Yeah, I meant
personal
to
opinion.
get the PlayStation 4 one. I never did.
Yeah, that one is 10 times better than the PS2 one. Like,
Yeah,
if you
I
beat the
should.
PS2 one, like, that's the thing, too, because I hate it when they're like, the art is better than the game itself. It's like, because to me, that's like wasted potential. It's not that it's bad game, it's just an okay game on the PS2. But if you play the PS4 one, you're going to be like, holy shit, this is way more accessible. So
Yeah, I should grab it.
it switches up a lot of things for the better. So definitely pick
But yeah,
that
I
one
love
up.
that. I absolutely love Dragon's Crown.
Yeah, I have to get
Dragon's
back
Crown
to
was
that
great.
because I've owned that one on the PS3 and I have the hard steel case on the PS4. I think I got past the pirate stage where you like have the genie or whatever. And I think the reason I stop is because my friends end up like, I only want to play that cooperatively. I don't want to play that by myself. So I think the issue is I've never had people long enough to finish that game. And the guy who made it, by the way, I think it's George Katamati. I think that's his name. Or
Yep.
I'm surprised I got that right. He worked on the Dungeons and Dragons Shadow over Mysteria, and the is that what it was called? Shadow over Mysteria and the
And Tower
of Doom. And it's like those games kicked ass. So when you like see that in Dragon's Crowd, you're like, oh yeah, this is the same guy.
Yeah,
So,
I loved that one. I bought every version of it
yeah.
in art books and all the stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I when I pre-ordered the PS3 version, I got the art book. I still have it too. So, yep, that was a long time ago. Goddamn. But yeah, going back onto that.
I haven't played the new game yet. The 13.
Yeah, the 13 Sentinels. Apparently, it's going to be a weird RTS, and it's going to be more of a visual novel than anything. I'm prepared for it. I think I'll like it. Here's hoping that I don't know how I'm going to feel about the RTS, but if the story's good enough, I don't think I'll give a shit. So, what else? Whoops.
Yeah, that one's mostly. It's not like as much action, right?
Right.
As the other games, but
yeah,
more visual novel style, I guess. I still want it though because like the artwork is beautiful.
That's they're not that. Excuse me. Vanillaware is definitely, they have their own identity, so that's a fact. They definitely stand out. Anyway, I don't know. I don't think I need to show it on my Switch. I'm light. I'm just gonna look at what else I picked up, and it's because it was on sale. There is a game called. You're familiar with the Jake Hunter series, right?
No.
No. Okay, so when I was younger, I fucking loved Phoenix Wright on the DS. I loved those games. So I tried to find other games like that, and Jake Hunter was one of them. And I think they were originally like Japanese PC games at one point. Anyway, they made this alternate one called Alternate Jake Hunter Daedalus. I mean, it got really good reviews. It was a visual novel. It's like a visual novel detective type game. It was $5. I mean, the game was originally 40. So, and the artwork is really nice. Speaking of good artwork, this has really nice artwork. And another one, I got Shakedown Hawaii. That was a good. That was the like a Super Nintendo GTA game. That was also on sale for $10. So if you guys check out Nintendo's eShop, these are on sale. And finally, Demon's Tilt. That game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like those video pinball things.
Well,
figures.
it's just it's I like pinball video games. It's fucking weird. You know, you've got all these like crazy games and you know, platformers, shooters, whatever. I'm cool with just pressing two fucking trigger buttons because the flair in Demon's Tilt, it's a pinball game, yes, but it's all like 2D pixel art and it just looks so great. I don't know if you can do it on this, but apparently you can do it on landscape.
Cool.
If you have the original Switch, you can get this
flip grip.
The flip grip. Yep, and then you can do it like that. And I mean, it looks good in this orientation. But if you can, but when you can do it vertically, oh god, it's even more.
Yeah, it's like why bother? I play a lot of shooters that way because you can play a lot of shooters that way too, which is really nice.
Because you have the Psycheo collection, is that how you pronounce it?
That's actually why I have a flip grip was for those games. So that'll be cool. I need to pick that up because I really loved like Devil's Crush and Alien Crush, those video pinball games.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be right up my alley. That's on sale right now.
Yeah, it's normally 20. I got it for 12. So yeah, pick that one up. The thing is that you know, it's so strange because I didn't realize because you always hear about people that like, you know, they get home from work and they just want to relax and just like zone out to like something simple. Something simple. Sometimes that's a visual novel. Sometimes that's Animal Crossing. Sometimes it's like, you know, something like a Harvest Moon. What's the I know what it is. What the fuck is it called? It's the one that's like Harvest Moon. And it's the indie one. Stardew Valley. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was my girlfriend telling me that. Stardew Valley. Yes. And for, you know, I that used to be me with like Animal Crossing when I was younger. I can't get into Animal Crossing now. It's a shame. I like the charm, but I don't know. There's just, I feel like once you played one, you played them all. So I think that's why I kind of don't do it anymore, among other reasons, I'm guessing. But I can just zone out to pinball games just easily. I was very shocked how I could do that. The Pinball FX series, on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, I like it. I don't know. It's weird. I like pinball games. I don't know. I didn't see. It feels like an old person thing for some. I don't know. I've been like that way since a kid. It's very strange. Yeah. So
Vanillaware needs to release a pinball game.
Holy shit! That's actually a great idea.
And be like, hey, bring us some pinball.
That would actually be a fun. I mean, they jump on so many different genres, right? They did a. They did an RTS or something with Grim Grimoire. What kind of game was that? It was like a Harry Potter like look. And it was
that's right. That was Vanillaware, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then they
wasn't
did this.
I thought it was like a point.
Yeah, it was like I don't remember
puzzle.
Yeah.
Something.
So they did that.
I forgot about that game.
And then they did a side scroll. They do plenty of side scrollers. Then they did a beat 'em up, and then now they've got like a visual novel RTS. I mean, I doubt they'll make a pinball game, but don't get me excited like that.
That'd be cool.
No, that would be dope. Oh yeah,
that'd be super cool.
But last thing on my end, I mentioned this earlier. You know, and Sorrow gave me the sad news. Apparently, Polymega doesn't support 8-bit DOE controllers, but I'm gonna praise this thing anyway, and maybe they'll add support for it in the future. Who knows? So
I mean, they could.
I feel like they could. Yeah, exactly.
They added like the PC Engine support for the controller. Like he was adding it like here when he was like here at my house.
Oh wow!
He was doing it like on the fly.
Okay.
Adding support for the controller, so they could. I think it's just like an agreement with active companies. You know what I mean? Like,
really?
I think that's what it is because they can add like all the other, like the old stuff, right? And I don't think that would be an issue. I think it's like coming up with some sort of agreement with the people who are making it. So I don't know if they maybe just didn't have the agreement or they didn't, there was no like open forum with 8-bit and there was with Retro Bit, or maybe because they're competitors, there might be something that's going on.
Well,
with that
it's funny you should say that
because they're
because like
competitors.
I have a Retrobit and an 8-bit controller, so I mean, whatever. Yeah, no, I mean it's. I get what you're saying though. That could be very well be. But I will say this. It would be really funny when we were talking about the whole hacking thing. If once they hack it, they just add support for 8-bit.
Yeah,
that
at that point they'll probably add all sorts of stuff, right?
right, exactly.
Joysticks and stuff. Because right now there aren't any joystick options except for the Neo Geo X joystick.
Really?
And yeah, and some Amazon. I forget what this one's called. Some $80 stick, which is like more money than people would probably want to spend.
Well, people spend big bucks for arcade sticks.
They
So
do, but I mean, like the Neo Geo X controller is like $40,
that's not.
right?
Yeah,
And there are other like cheaper because it's a May Flash that they support.
I thought I watched you use a different arcade stick when you were playing like Marvel versus Capcom or something like that, or X-Men versus Street Fighter. I swear I saw you doing that in the stream. I guess I didn't.
I was using the Retrobit controller just because it has the 6 buttons where I need them. I was using the Retrobit Saturn controller.
You weren't using an arcade stick?
I only use the arcade stick when I play Neo Geo stuff.
And it's the one,
games.
And it's the one you just said, the
Neo Geo X.
Okay,
That's the only one that I have that works. So I'm not going to spend $80 on this Mayflash one.
I mean, I've got this really nice one that I use for all my fighting games. It's like one of the hoary ones, so that's a damn shame.
Man, it'd be nice if it supported those.
Oh man, yeah.
The wrap.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Real Arcade Pro 4. Those are nice.
Yep, that's what I have.
Those are super nice.
Yeah.
If it supported that, I'd go out and buy one right now.
So it's funny you should say that because when I'm talking about all these good deals, because at that point in time, I was actually working at a game store, and someone sold that, but the cabinet where you put the cord in, it was broken off, so they discounted it. But they discounted it stupidly because it was stupid cheap. And then I had my own discount, and I basically bought a high quality arcade stick for $43.
Nice.
So I was like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, those Real Arcade Pros are like $150.
Yeah, exactly. So I was not gonna, let that slip out. That was definitely a buy. Going back on what I was saying though, the SN30 Pro USB 8-bit DO controllers, I saw them, they were $25, and usually when I see something for $25, I assume it's like, yeah, it'll probably be fine, and and it'll do its job. I'm feeling this thing, and it feels beefy. I mean, I feel weight. The funny thing is, it's shaped like a Super Nintendo controller, as you can see. That's the style I picked, but it also has these trigger buttons. It's not just R1 and R2. It's R1 and L1. It's the R2 and L2 as well, and the analog sticks. It also has a home button and some other button that you can map it for something as well.
You use it for your Switch.
Correct. This is good on the Switch, I believe. I think it might have PlayStation 4 support, PC for sure. The Mister, I use it for the Mister.
Yeah, let's say the second button would be like the capture button.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I was actually really surprised. There's a reason this has weight to it. It has rumble as well. All that for $25, and it's a damn good controller. Like damn good. I'm shocked. Like this is like ultimate value with the quality you're dealing with.
Yeah,
also,
I hope they support those because I'm not.
I love this controller. I fucking love this controller. And that's another thing too. Why I think it would work on the Polymega. It's got a damn home button.
Yeah,
and because that's one thing I worry. I've got this 8-bit DO wired Sega Saturn controller, but I know I'm going to have to plug in my Polymega controller in the wireless one on the side because I can't press the home button when I want to go to the home.
Actually, does it work?
Unless the 8-bit DO controllers, maybe you press buttons in a certain way and you can go to the home button or to the home page because there's no home button.
The Retrobit one has like an actual home button on it.
Not the one I have. Here.
Yeah, this one has a home button.
Oh, let's take a look. Oh,
Right here.
Is
I
that
don't know.
wired or wireless?
But that's not right here. That's the home button.
Is that wired or wireless?
Wireless.
Ah, see, I have the wired one.
Oh.
No home button.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
Yeah, this one's got a home button. I don't remember if it worked or not. I'll have to check. I don't remember.
because that's the thing that I find that will be like, it's not like even a big deal, but it's like one of those things that'll like, it's a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
So
I do hope they support them though, because I really like the 8-bit Doe M30. Remember I mentioned that earlier before the stream.
yeah, do you have one or no?
It feels so good. No, I don't. But my friend has one, and I kind of want to buy one. But I kind of want to buy one if it's supported by the Polymega at some point.
Right.
Because it feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was quite shocked how damn good this controller is. I mean, yeah. Especially for just $25. Now they've got a same model that's wireless. That's $45. That's fine and all, but again, like, if people are complaining about latency, this is the way to go. So, anyway, I think we went through everything.
Yeah, I think we did. And we're almost at the 2-hour mark, so maybe we should.
Good time to stop.
Any closing remarks that you might have?
Yeah. The same thing as I started out with, the Extra Life thing. If you'd like to donate, please do that. Goes to a good organization. And, we play video games here. We talk about video games, and the charity is video game based. And it's helping kids that need it. It's just win-win all around. And you have a chance of winning a custom cutting board that Saru will show off after post edit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's really all I have to say. I guess, in terms of my future video content, I suppose what it would be is, I said a while ago I'd make a Mr. video, and I haven't even started writing or anything about it. And one thing I actually would like to add about the Mr. I don't know if I told you this, Saru, but I think you would know this right away if you ever had the Mr. The sound is a little weird. Anytime and it will be fixed for sure. Everything else is literally perfect with it, but when there is a high-pitched sound, it has a warble effect, and it sounds out of tune. And for us that play Neo Geo games literally all the time, you're going to notice that, because I noticed it immediately. But anyway, so I was probably I was going to make something about the Mr. I haven't even started writing yet, honestly, and mainly because I think now's a good time to do it, to be honest, because I've had it for over a month now. I've got my opinions all settled, I think, on it. It doesn't, did I touch it and I'm all of a sudden, converted and I hate the Polymega now? No, that's I have FPGA and I still want the Polymega, so let that be a testament. And that wasn't a decision I even decided prior to getting the Mr. Like, I'm going to get this because I'm petty enough to show people that, no, that's not the case. There's other people like me as well. So
yeah, this is a different way to play,
Exactly. And then lastly, I suppose if that's the in-between content, we're just going to wait and see, and then obviously the live stream with the Extra Life thing. So with that said, I'll probably have like a Battlestar Linux set up or whatever, and we can pick a game and go from there. And I'll make a poll on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter. So I have some announcements for that. And then finally, when I get the Polymega, of course you'll be expecting a video for that, and of course I'll be making it. So, yep, that's the plan for me
here. Whenever there's more Polymega news, we'll probably do another one of these Polycasts.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than later, but whenever, if there is no news from here to release, I guess that's a good thing if release happens soon. But regardless of if it doesn't happen, we'll be doing one. If it does happen, we'll be doing one. Either way. But hopefully there's some news between now and then, so we can do another one of these. But for now, we've got 2 hours of this that you guys can enjoy. And we'll be putting them out. We're no longer going to be doing a schedule. We're going to be putting them out, like I said in the beginning. Once we have significant information to talk about it, we'll be doing another one of these polycasts.
Or else it'll end up like our last live stream where we talk about obscure anime for like an hour and a half.
We completely went off the rails on that last one.
Whoops.
Because we were doing it live and people were talking, so it was like this time we're gonna do it again how we did it the time before that, where we premiered it live. So it'll be pre-recorded, but one of us will be there. Hopefully both of us, but one of us will be there in the chat to talk about it. I'll definitely be there once I upload it and premiere it, so that we can chat live while you guys are watching this video here. Yep. But I think that'll do it for this polycast. Yep. And hopefully you guys enjoyed if you watched all 2 hours of today's show. But we will be doing more of these soon as we have some relevant info. But I do appreciate everyone coming by. Make sure to check the description for CatPat's link to his channel.
Thank you.
As well to his Extra Life event that he's going to be doing soon. Yep. And then go ahead and check out the description if you want to join Polymega Mega Fans on Facebook. That is our Facebook group for Polymega related news and things. But anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching tonight, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.